Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the international webinar series on holistic health, well-being, and sustainable development 2026 commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 78 years of independence and United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030 and Viksit Bharat in 2047 as part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Arts, Sciences and Wellbeing. Before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
गुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं गुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं गुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं गुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's commemorations and celebrations. Today, on 30th July, is commemorated as International Day of Friendship and actions to promote a culture of peace, foster a culture of peace through education, promote sustainable economic and social development, promote respect for all human rights, ensure equality between women and men, and foster democratic participation, advance understanding, tolerance, and solidarity, support participating communication and free flow of information and knowledge, promote international peace and security. In a time when noise of division grows louder, fueled by wars, conflicts, inequality, and fear, friendship feels almost radical in its simplicity. It doesn't arrive with fanfare or policy, it doesn't need speeches or signatures. It begins with something quieter, a conversation, a shared moment, a willingness to see one another, not as strangers, but as fellow travelers through the human experience. In this year observance of the International Day of Friendship, we are reminded that real peace is for God forged not only in negotiation halls or by writing into treaties, it's built thread by thread in the trust we extend to one another in daily life. So, friendship, especially among young people, holds a special kind of power. It can cross languages, faiths, and histories that might otherwise divide us. It invites us to listen before we judge, to stay with when it's easier to walk away, and when nurtured across cultures and communities, friendship becomes more than a bond. It becomes a blueprint for reconciliation. It teaches us that understanding isn't a grand achievement. It's a habit, a practice, a way of moving through the world that says your well being matters to me too. This year, as the world faces profound ruptures between nations, within societies, even within families, the call to friendship is not sentimental. It's essential. It's about reaching across what breaks us and daring to believe in something better. It is a call to imagine a future when difference doesn't need distance, where trust is stronger than fear. Though friendship, we don't just cope with the world as it is, we begin to shape that world as it could be. So, the International Day of Friendship was proclaimed in 2011 by the UN General Assembly with the idea that friendship between peoples, countries, cultures, and individuals can inspire peace efforts and build bridges between communities. The resolution places emphasis on involving young people as future leaders in community activities that include different cultures and promote international understanding and respect for diversity. To mark the International Day of Friendship, the UN encourages governments, international organizations, and civil society groups to hold events, activities, and initiatives that contribute to the efforts of international community towards promoting a dialogue among civilizations, solidarity, mutual understanding, and reconciliation. The International Day of Friendship is an initiative that follows on the proposal made by UNESCO defining the culture of peace as a set of values, attitudes, and behaviors that reject violence and endeavor to prevent conflicts by addressing their root causes with a view of to solving problems. It was then adopted by the Universal General Assembly, UN General Assembly, in 1997. Today is also commemorated as World Day Against Trafficking in Persons on 30th July, with the theme Trapped Behind the Scam for the year 2026. 74% of the traffickers operate within the organized crime groups. In 2022, victims from 162 nationalities were trafficked to 128 different countries. About 70% of those investigated, prosecuted, and convicted for trafficking in 2022 were men. African victims were the most widely trafficked group. They accounted for 31% of cross-border trafficking flows. The 2026 World Day Against Trafficking in Persons theme Trapped Behind the Scam draws attention to a rapidly expanding form of human trafficking in which transnational organized crime groups and exploit people to carry out industrial scale financial fraud. Victims are trafficked for forced criminality and compelled to participate in online scam operations. This form of exploitation is closely linked to cybercrime, financial fraud, money laundering, and corruption, demonstrating the increasingly interconnected nature of organized crime. Traffickers often recruit victims through fake job advertisements that promise legitimate employment opportunities abroad. Believing they are accepting genuine work, victims travel to another country only to find themselves confined in illegal scam compounds. Within these compounds, victims are forced to conduct cyber enabled fraud, including romance scams, cryptocurrency fraud, and other online schemes targeting people around the world. They are kept under constant surveillance and subject to violence, threats, debt bondage, and demanding work quotas, learning them trapped in the conditions of fear with little opportunity to escape. In East and Southeast Asia, UNODC estimates that scams caused between US dollars 18 billion and US dollars 37 billion in financial losses in 2023 alone. A high proportion of these losses is linked to scams carried out by organization crime groups based in the region. The UN Office for Drugs and Crime, UNODC, is supporting countries across Southeast Asia to improve victim identification, investigations, and prosecutions related to trafficking for forced criminality. Cyber-enabled fraud and money laundering. This includes advanced training, support for specialized task forces, and stronger cross-border cooperation. UNODC also advises countries and legal reforms needed to prosecute the full range of crimes connected to transnational organized crime, including large-scale money laundering, cyber-enabled crime, and corruption. Because these crimes often span multiple countries, international cooperation is essential. The United Nations Convention Against Cybercrime, adopted by the General Assembly in December 2024, provides a new global framework to strengthen cooperation against digital crime, online fraud, and technology-enabled organized crime. The convention supports faster international cooperation and more consistent collection and sharing of electronic evidence, helping authorities investigate and dismantle criminal networks operating across borders. On World Day Against Trafficking in Persons 2026, UNODC calls for stronger action to protect victims and improve cross-border judicial and law enforcement cooperation. These efforts are essential to disrupting the organized crime groups behind trafficking-linked scam operations. Trafficking in persons is a serious crime and a grave violation of human rights. Every year, thousands of men and women and children fall into the hands of traffickers in their own countries and abroad. Almost every country in the world is affected by trafficking, whether as a country of origin, transit, or destination for victims. UNODC, as guardian of the United Nations Convention Against transnational organized crime, UNDOC, and the protocols thereto assist states in their efforts to implement the protocol to prevent, suppress, and punish trafficking in persons. Trafficking in persons protocol. The protocol to prevent, suppress, and punish trafficking in persons defines trafficking in persons as the recruitment, transportation, transfer, harboring, or receipt of persons by means of threat or use of force or other forms of coercion, of abduction, of fraud, of deception, of the abuse of power, or of a position of vulnerability, or of the giving or receiving of payments or benefits to achieve the consent of a person having control over other person. For the purpose of explanation, exploitation shall include, at a minimum, the exploitation of prostitution of others or other forms of sexual exploitation, forced labor or services, slavery or practice similar to slavery, servitude, or the removal of organs. So the World Day Against Trafficking in Persons was proclaimed by the United Nations General Assembly in its resolution 68 by 192. Today is also commemorated as World Snorkeling Day on July 30 every year, inviting adventurers of all ages to discover the magic beneath the waves. The accessible aquatic activity requires minimal gear, making it perfect for exploring coral reefs and marine life. Grab your mask, snorkel, and fins, and plunge into an unforgettable underwater experience. Today is also commemorated as Earth Overshoot Day on July 30, calculated annually by the Global Footprint Network, typically late July and early August. Highlights the critical moment each year when humanity has set up all ecological resources and services that Earth's ecosystem can regenerate in that year. Originating from the Global Footprint Network, this day serves as a stark reminder to re-evaluate our consumption patterns, join the movement to reduce your ecological footprint, support sustainable initiatives, and advocate for policy changes. For Earth Overshoot Day, the focus shifts from commercial deals to impactful awareness and actions. Organizations like the Global Footprint Network and World Wildlife Fund often partner with corporate sponsors to launch donation matching campaigns, encouraging individuals to contribute to conservation efforts. Brands such as Patagonia and Allbirds, known for their sustainable practices, may highlight their eco-friendly products or commit a portion of sales to environmental causes. Look for the events hosted by community groups and environmental nonprofits, offering educational workshops, cleanup drives, and calls to action. Today is also commemorated as International Digital Adoption Professionals Day, in short known as DAP Professionals Day. Expect a focus on professional development, illuminates the vital role of experts who drive technology adoption every last Thursday of July. These professionals ensure digital investments yield high returns and transforming how organizations operate. Join us in celebrating their crucial work, sharing their stories, and recognizing their impact on global digital transformation. Today is also commemorated as Martyrs' Day South Sudan on July 30, commemorating the death of John Garang Mobio and all who sacrificed their lives for the nation's independence. This solemn day calls for reflection on the cost of freedom and a renewed commitment to peace. Join the people of South Sudan in remembrance and hope. Today is also commemorated as National Whistleblower Day on July 30 in the US, recognizes the brave individuals who expose corruption and illegal activities. Take action by learning about whistleblower protection, supporting advocacy organizations, and sharing stories of integrity to champion transparency. Today is also commemorated as Paperback Book Day on July 30, inviting readers to celebrate the accessible and portable joy of softcover books. These beloved editions make it literature affordable, and easy to carry, fostering a love for reading worldwide. Dive into a new story, revisit a classic, or share your favorite paperback with a friend today. Today is also commemorated as Share a Hug Day on July 30 in US, inviting everyone to connect with loved ones through the simple, powerful act of hug. This day highlights the profound benefits of physical affection for emotional and mental health being. Reach out to friends, family, and even pets to share a comforting embrace today. Today is also commemorated as National Vanuatu Independence Day on July 13 in Vanuatu. The Republic of Vanuatu sovereignty every July 30 celebrates. On this day marks the liberation from the joint rule of UK and France in 1980. Today is also commemorated as National Cheesecake Day on July 30 in US, inviting everyone to indulge in rich, creamy delight. From its ancient Greek origins to modern day dessert menus, cheesecake has captivated palates around worldwide. Gather your friends, visit your favorite bakery, or try a new recipe at home to celebrate this sweet occasion. So, with this, we shall end today's commemorations and celebrations. See you all tomorrow at the same time with the same joining link. Take care. Good night.